So in this video, I'm going to be focusing on the market update for June for Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa, and Pickering. So let's get started. And if you guys enjoy this kind of stuff like market updates and just stats, no sales pitches, please like and subscribe. It kind of cheers me up. Thanks. So let's get right into it. So this is just a very basic overview for now. Later on in the video, I'm going to be getting into like more detailed types of homes and types of prices, like average prices, median prices. But this is just a very, very basic overview. This is what they were selling for in January. So this is every type of home, like detached, semi, freehold, condo, townhouse, condo, so everything. Okay, so overall average prices are here for January, and it peaked in February, as we all know. And let's say, for example, in Pickering, average price for everything was at 1.28, and now it's down to 1.14. So these are the numbers for the month of June. And Oshawa was just a little bit over $1 million, and now it's around $800,000. Okay, so that was a very basic overview. So let's get into more detailed stats right now. Okay, these are average prices for detached homes. I'm comparing everything to January because that's how I started, so I just want to stick to it for consistency's sake. And you can see Ajax, Oshawa, Pickering, and Whitby are what I'm covering. So you can see their prices here for January. And this is what they're selling for in June. Let's say, for example, Ajax, they was selling for 1.46. Now they're down to like 1.1. That's a drop of $365,000 in only 6 months. Oshawa, if you look at it, Oshawa is down about $240,000. Whitby is down $344,000. And so that's average prices for detached homes. But I also want to do median prices as well, because I just want to give as much info to you guys as possible, and then you guys can make up your own mind whether it's a good idea to sell or not, or buy or not, because sometimes it's not a good idea to sell. I know as a salesman, I'm not supposed to say that. Okay, so let's look at median prices. Same thing. It's pretty much similar. Like Ajax average is down $365,000, and median prices, they're down $360,000. Oshawa is down about $239,000 for detached only, and Whitby is down $324,000 detached homes. Okay, so let's look at how many homes are selling, how many were selling at the peak of the market and in January. So January was slower than February. February was kind of where the market peaked. You can see a whole bunch of sales here. Now, in terms of number of sales, the market's not doing too bad in Durham. Like Durham is okay. Like I've covered Peel, I've covered Halton. They're struggling on the West End. They're struggling in terms of prices and number of sales. But Durham, what I've noticed is in terms of number of sales, they're not doing too badly. Like the homes are still selling. It's just they're not just selling at the prices they were 2-3 months ago. So you can see here in May it dropped obviously, but it's not too bad, like not a huge drop from May to June. So it might be just kind of leveling off. That's only in terms of number of sales. I'm not talking about prices. I don't know when the prices will stop going down. Okay, so hopefully this kind of gives you an idea. Like homes are still selling. So if you price your home right and it shows well and you're in the East End, you should be okay. Now let's look at freehold townhomes average prices. So same thing, I'm comparing everything to January, and if you compare from January to June, Ajax is down about $231,000. And keep in mind these are only freehold townhouses. And Pickering is down $287,000. Oshawa is down $138,000. So and Whitby is down $200,000 approximately. So now that's average prices. Now let's look at median prices. Median prices not doing much different. They're also down quite a bit. I would say the range happens to be right around the $225,000 mark. Okay, Ajax is down exactly $200,000. Pickering hurting the most for freehold townhouses. They're down $292,000. That's a huge drop, like almost $300,000 in 6 months. Okay, and Whitby is down approximately $200,000. Now, a bit of a good news if you happen to be a seller and you happen to own a condo. If you own a condo and you're thinking of selling, you guys are still doing okay, because condo prices are actually up when you compare it to January. Now, I will go into more detail because when I crunch the numbers, the condo market in the East End did not really peak until like late February and March. So these numbers are probably not going to give you the best comparison in terms of which way the market's going. But just to be consistent, I wanted to just stick to January, and I will go into more detail on the next slide here. But if you compare just to January, like look at the prices, like they're up $9,000. Oshawa is up 154. That's not really true because you'll see later on what I'm talking about. That was a very, very low number even for Oshawa. Pickering's down about $3,000. Whitby is actually up 15,000. So these are average prices. But now let's look at median prices. Same thing, Oshawa's up $180,000 when compared to January. But keep in mind, I'm going to get into more detail right now. Don't just base it just on January. Okay, so every single market's up except Pickering compared to January. But now let's look at a bit more detail because like I said before, the market did not peak for condos in January. It actually peaked in March. You can see here, this is Whitby in blue. So yeah, it peaked in March and then it's been going down ever since. Pickering is in gray. It's going down, but it shot back just a bit back in June. So like I said before, condos are not doing too badly. Oshawa has been pretty consistent. See what I mean? Like that number was way too low. That was like around 308. But even if you ignore that, like everything's been okay. Like Oshawa's been pretty steady for condos at least. And Ajax also, like it peaked in February and then had a slight bump in April, but it's been going down since then. So that's why I want to show you guys this chart in more detail, because if you look at only January to June, it looks like, wow, the condos are doing great. Like what's going on? The whole market is crashing, but condo market is doing great. It's doing better than most, but it's not going up. It's actually coming down or starting to level off. But which is still good news considering what else is going on in the market. I think if you guys are owning a condo, and if you're thinking of selling, you're going to do okay because condos are still in demand. We are not done, but if you guys are liking this kind of stuff, please consider subscribing. Kind of cheers me up. Like I said, I always say that it does cheer me up, and it's true, it does cheer me up. Now let's look at what's on the market right now. Okay, so I just pulled these stats up just today, like about an hour ago. This is July 7th. I'm making this. So these are not just June stats. This is everything available right now on the Toronto Real Estate Board for Durham. Right now, there are 187 listings in Ajax, including everything like detached to condos, everything. A whole bunch of listings in Oshawa, 424. So if you're looking to buy a house in Oshawa, there's plenty of selection. And 234 in Pickering, and out of all these, this is how many of them have had to drop their price because they were not getting the price they were looking for. But it was still not too bad. Like this number is not too bad considering like I made some videos on the West End. West End is not doing well at all. And out of all of these ones, this is how many of them have been on the market for longer than 2 weeks. So this is good news if you happen to be a buyer and you're looking in this region, because now things are sitting on the market a little bit longer, which means less panic, which means less crazy offers. So that's good news if you're on the buying end. And it's important to know if you're on the selling end, because I would probably, at least have the house up for sale before you start shopping for another house, because you don't know how long it's going to take to sell. And I mean, things can still sell in 2 days. I know, just once in a while will call me and they're kind of angry. They're like, hey, what are you talking about? Like, I sold my house. I sold a listing down the street and it sold in like 3 days and $20,000 over asking. Now, I'm not doubting that it's still not going on. It is. I'm still seeing offer dates on some listings. I'm just saying in general, the market has changed quite a bit compared to wintertime. And obviously, if you price anything. Now, let's look at one more thing. One last thing before I let you guys go. If you guys are still around, I don't know how many people stick around till the end. SNLR, this is kind of like an industry guideline. It's not like a scientific formula. It just means that like it kind of guides you in terms of like which way the market's going. Is it going towards a buyer's market or is it going towards a seller's market? They say anything above 60% in terms of listings coming up and listings selling. the ratio between them. If it's over 60%, it's a seller's market. If it's under 40%, it's a buyer's market. So let's look at Ajax right here. I pulled up the peak of the market, so February. So Ajax was at 78%, Oshawa was at 81, Pickering was at 78, and Whitby was at 81 again. So almost at 80%, every single one. Now let's see what's happened since then. So we are in June now. Ajax has dropped to 65%, Oshawa is at 61, and Pickering is at 65, Whitby is at 66. So if anything, we are quickly approaching a balanced market. Like I said before, East End seems to be doing a little bit better than the West End. I've covered both sides and I've made videos just recently. And just based on the numbers, I think the East End is holding up a little bit better. The prices are definitely down in terms of like detached homes. But in terms of number of homes selling, they're still selling. So I think that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks. See you.